Hi, my name is Carol. I'm the Saltbox Stitcher. I'm starting a little different because I think most of us who do floss tube or YouTube, have a YouTube channel, we kind of get in a canned beginning and ending. So I'm going to start differently. I'm going to break the monotony. So my name's Carol, and I have been cross-stitching since the early 80s, maybe late 70s. I can't, that's a long time ago. I started out, I did a few birth samplers for my little ones. They were kits for my sister's 3 boys. And then I started doing floss tube in 2018. Wasn't totally my idea. I talked to my husband and I said, you know, there's this new thing where people are coming on and they're talking about stitching, and it's called floss tube. And he said, well, why don't you do it? And I said, well, you know, I don't know. You're putting yourself out there. You know, you got trolls, you got bots, you got, I don't know that I used those words in 2018, but you know what I mean. So anyway, I said, I'll think about it. I'm just not sure. So on Thursdays, I get together with some friends to stitch or sew at a local quilt shop. And I came home, and unbeknownst to me, he said, you know that thing you were talking about, that floss tube thing? Well, there really isn't a category called floss tube. And I said, I know, it's kind of a name that has been appropriated for talking about cross stitch, and I don't really know who started that name. But anyway, he said, well, now you have to do it. I said, what do you mean I have to do it? He said, well, I went around the house today, took pictures and uploaded them into a little video, like an introduction video. I said, oh. So that was in June of 2018, and shortly after that I did my first one, which is absolutely horrible. I was so nervous. It was just horrible. And Hi, I'm Carol, and I'm the Saltbox Stitcher. Welcome to my channel. This is my very first floss tube, so I'm a little nervous. I was a little conflicted. It was just horrible. And for a while I did one kind of once a month for the first, I don't know, year, 6 months, year, whatever. I wasn't on any kind of schedule. So anyway, 5 years and some months have gone by, and I'm still talking about my stitching. So it's a channel about cross stitch. That gives you a little history into how I started this whole thing. So I am back. My loyal friend left. He was supposed to tell me what episode. Oh wait, here he is. What episode is it, dear? I think I know, but I'm curious to see what you think the clue is. Oh, coffee. Thank you. Oh, he bought me a cup. A mug. You can't see it because of the glare. But it's Saltbox Stitcher. Oh, the other thing about that story. Oh, wait. Anyway, what episode is it, dear?
Okay. This clue is not a math problem.
Oh, good.
You're so good on trivia.
Sometimes.
This episode is has to do with the name of a famous dog movie.
Lassie?
No. It's the dog has to do with fire trucks and his black spots.
Oh, Dalmatians, 101 Dalmatians.
Very good.
So 101. So anyway, the other thing about that beginning of floss tube for me was there was a shop in Kansas City when we used to live there, and it was called the Saltbox Sampler. And I just loved that name. I thought that was so unique. Well, they've long since closed. And when I started my long arm quilting business, I decided I would name my business Saltbox Quilting. So, I mean, that's neither here nor there, but after he did this little introductory video, he said, well, I also picked a name for you. I was like, oh, okay, what's the name? And he said, Saltbox Stitcher. So if you're wondering why 101 videos later I'm still doing this, it's all his fault. And I've had to keep stitching just to keep up with it. Anyway, so I thought I would give you a little taste of what my last 3 weeks. I didn't do a video last week, and so it's been 3 weeks of stitching. And it's really been kind of crazy. So Webster says crazy means, this is the definition, not mentally sound, marked by thought or action that lacks reason, a crazy plan, erratic, unusual and out of the ordinary, distracted with desire or excitement, passionately preoccupied, full of cracks and flaws to an extreme degree. So that's kind of my stitching. That's 3 weeks. Crazy. I just decided to start a bunch of things. Now, part of this is Narissa. If you don't follow her, she's Narissa's Stitching Lifestyle. She decided to start 8 samplers from her that were kitted from her stash, and for 8 weeks during August and September. So I thought, oh, that sounds like a plan. So I picked 15 and decided that from that I would pick 8. Well, 15's now gone to 20, 25. I've got a whole basket full of things kitted that I would like to start. But I've decided I'm just going to start 1 a week, sometimes 2. But if I start a second one, it has to be fall. Now, I don't like to boss myself, and I don't like telling myself what to do because I rebel. But I'm going to first show you 2 fall things that I've started. And then I'll get into the other things I've started. And then I've also been stitching on some whips that I have. So I'm going to go through all of that. And then I may take a break and show you my Blackbird finished but not framed, because my last video I had some finished not framed. I also have some haul. So let's see if we can keep that under an hour so that Mr. Professor Saltbox can get it edited and uploaded before the weekend. It actually is, today is Wednesday, and we're Idalia, the hurricane. It's windy. It's not even raining. It's just kind of a yucky day. But it is a little bit windy. Not a lot. I mean, our flag is, it's being tossed around in front of our house. But we're not even getting what I call a tropical storm yet. Now, it's before noon, so maybe we'll get more this afternoon. But it's mostly hitting the panhandle of Florida. And if you're not familiar with the geography of Florida, I'm on the northwest corner almost of northeast corner of Florida. So we're only just a few miles south of Georgia, and that's why we're called the First Coast. So anyway, my heart goes out to those people that are getting hit by the hurricane, because it can be devastating. And we always get prepared. We get the generator ready, we get buy the water, the groceries, the bread, the peanut butter, jelly, all stuff you might need if you lose power. But since we have a generator, we can keep our refrigerator going. But it's been very hot, so we don't want to lose air conditioning. So few of my friends were in a text group, and one gal lost power, but it's since come back on. So what has that to do with stitching? I don't know. I just picked a good day to video, I guess. He brought me my coffee, so let me take a sip. Okay, the first fall thing that I started, and I'm going to try to finish this. I've been trying to have a finish, at least one finish every month for the year. And a couple months I've had more than one, but I just haven't had some big finishes, so hopefully I can get to more of my samplers to have some big finishes. Hold on, I got to get this needle threaded through here. No. Talk among yourselves. Okay. So this is from the book Jack-O-Lantern Jubilee by Brenda Gervais. I think this came out either last year or the year before. It could have come out the year before. I don't know that it has a date, so I'm not going to spend time. Yeah, 2021. Oh, yeah. Jack-O-Lantern Jubilee. And I really like these little pillows that you can put in your dough bowl. So this one is Trick or Treat. And I have just barely started it. But that'll be an easy finish. I'm using the called for, some DMC and some overdyed. This is R&R's Brenda's Brew. Now I have a couple of Brenda's Brew, and some of them are different colors. Oops. So I'm going to finish this one on this darker Brenda's Brew, but I may do the others on this little bit lighter Brenda's Brew. So that's my story on that start. I am kind of thinking a lot about fall stitching. I'm thinking if we all start stitching fall, maybe the temps will go down a little bit. And we won't be so hot. And it's extremely humid today because it's a storm coming and it's raining. The other thing I started, and I stacked stuff up here. Let me see what I did with it. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I don't know if I showed you this last time or not. Oh, this one has 3 needles. That's special. This is Blackbird Fractor by Plum Street. And this one I'm doing on, good question, Patriots Brew, also by R&R. And this is my progress on this. I kind of got motivated to start this one because Linda was a gal at the retreat I went to, and she had quite a bit of progress. So I haven't started on the birds yet, but really enjoying doing this one. So definitely this is a fall piece. Blackbird Fractor. So that'll be fun to get finished. Let's see where I'm putting this stuff. But the other one I started was Jack's Bash by Plum Street, and that is Katie So Tattered and Olivia Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. That's their fault. They're stitching on it on the 13th and the 30th or the 31st every month. So I decided to do that too, and I see it. Good, good, good. Okay, here it is. It's Jack's Bash by Plum Street. Sorry for the glare. Here are the thread colors. They're all over-dyed, fall golds, pumpkin colors. And this is my progress on this one. I don't have a lot of progress, but I'm stitching it on it's either 36 or 40. I think it's 36 Abecedarian by R&R. Now, most of you who have watched me before know that I like to start and get all the border done. But if it's just a single stitch border, even if you're off, you're only going to be off by one stitch. So it's silly to spend my time trying to count all the way around. So on a single stitch border, I do not go all the way around first. I just jump right into the motifs. So I'm working on the haunted house, and I'm going to go across, and then I'll go down. Now the verse is over 1 on this, and it says, "Here in the rust and autumn bower, the knobby gourd and bitter flower, we merry make and sing hooray to our friend Jack on his birthday." So it's really cute. And it's in that same kind of Rhode Island style sampler that Plum Street does a lot of. So that is start number 3, actually, because Trick or Treat, Jack's Bash, and Blackbird Fracture. So that's 3 starts in the last 3 weeks. Okay, now we have more. The next new start, well, I showed you, I think I did Elizabeth Furnace by Hands Across the Street. I was going to say Hands Across the Street. I wish they were across the street, but I don't think Nicola would want to live on my street compared to living in Cornwall. I've been watching Doc Martin, which is on Acorn and maybe on some other streaming channels. If you haven't watched Doc Martin, you have to watch it. It's hilarious. And I actually, in that show, they call crazy people bodmin, B-O-D-M-I-N. They've gone bodmin. So I think with all my starts, I've gone bodmin. Anyway, Elizabeth Furnace, there's quite a few people stitching this, and they're doing a rotation every month, and they are almost finished. So I'm way late to the party, but it's all good. So I don't know if I did more since I did my last video or not, but I've gone all the way around. Well, no, I haven't. Here we go. I've gone all the way around with the green, oops, you can't hardly see that, with the green vine border, the bones of it. And I am doing this red outer border line. There again, it doesn't really matter to me if that matches because it's only 1 stitch. But I've gone from the, see this green vine border stops at the bottom, goes all the way across. And then the red line border goes across the bottom and all the way around. So anyway, and then I started putting a few of the flowers in. So that's fun. And this one I am using, let's see. I have to find the threads. Nope, not that one. Anyway, I'm using the Soie d'Alger, Verissois Soie d'Alger, which is a silk. I have all these rings in front of me. I think this is it. Yes, Elizabeth Furnace, and this I'm doing on, let me just tell you. See, I write on my tag. Some are small tags, some are bigger tags. Elizabeth Furnace, 1836 by Hands Across the Sea. I'm using XJU. It was part of a monthly 6-month block of, or fabric of the month club from XJU. So it didn't really have a name. But it's a light, kind of a light neutral. That's pretty good. So that is fun, and that will be fun to get back to. Put that over there. The next start, I have 3 more. I don't know what that adds up to, and I don't want to know. I think it's going to be 8. I don't know. I ran out of room on my book. I was going to bring my book of days out. I ran out of room on the side where it says notes, because that's where I put my starts and what date I started them. And I'm just like, you start writing smaller and smaller and smaller because you know you're going to run out of room. So the next one I started was Mary Carr, 1840, by Hands Across the Sea. And at one point in time, this picture of the sampler was on the Book of Days. I can't remember what year, but I think a lot of people really wanted to stitch it. And it first came out, I think, with a like a guild exclusive, but then it came out this year, last year, for everyone to stitch. So Mary Carr, let's see where I am on this one. I've gone all the way around with the border. This one I'm stitching on 46 count flannel flowers by Fox and Rabbit. The reason, flannel flowers is what it calls for. And I had a piece of 46 that was a fat quarter, and I figured out if I did it on 46 it would fit on a fat quarter. If you did it on 40, I'd have to have a fat half. It wouldn't use the whole fat half, but so I've gone all the way around. Now when I first went all the way around, my border didn't meet. I've had pretty good luck lately with my borders meeting, but my border didn't meet. Well, my problem was up here in the very beginning, so I ended up taking all of this out and restitching it so that my border would meet. Now, some people would say, move forward, don't move back, that's crazy. Whatever. Because I just want it right. Now, am I that way about everything? No. No, I'm not. But for some reason, because I like to base things on my border, as far as my counting, you know, okay, so this is the start of this little right here. So I can go across and I can go up and I can see where they're supposed to meet, and then I know if I'm copacetic. So that is Mary Carr. That's on flannel flowers, and on this one I'm using the 103. And I like the coverage of 103 on 46. It's very good. Okay, the next one I started, keep going, right? The next one I started is a Scarlet House, and this is Janet Barr Slater. Am I showing that upside down? No, the Scarlet House. You can barely read the Janet Barr Slater by the Scarlet House. And this one I am using the called for silks, which are Gloriana and Belle Soie. And I'm stitching it on 40 count paper bark by Fox and Rabbit. So these are the silks. I think I did switch one out, but I can't remember. Maybe this antique gold I switched out. I can't totally remember. But anyway, this one is not huge. So I have the border all the way around. It's a very easy border. And I'm filling in those red buds or berries or whatever they are around the border. And when you look at the first few, well, actually down and including this alphabet. It's all reds and greens. Now, when you get down to the house, there's some grays and some light blues, but the top part of it is all red and green. It's very pretty. Janet Barr Slater by the Scarlet House. So that was a start. I have one more start. I need to post all these on Instagram. I kind of forget. I used to kind of think, well, okay, I'll wait to post them on Instagram till after I've shown them in my videos. And then I show them in my videos and then I forget to go back and post them on Instagram. Because there is a hashtag that Narissa started, which is stash sampler starts. And then there's another one, stash sampler stitching. And then going into September, it's sampler September. So then there's sampler September and sampler September soiree. And I don't know all of the details. I used to know, and I kind of I need to refresh my memory about it. Anyway, the next one I started is Elizabeth Hunt by With Thy Needle and Thread. This is so pretty. The border on this is just fabulous. Fabulous. So with this I'm using, it's all DMC except for 2 weeks. And this is the one on the DMCs, you over dye them with coffee on some of them to just dull them down just a bit. I was going to say that just a hair, but it's actually just a thread. Dull them down just a little bit. So Elizabeth Hunt, 1845 by With Thy Needle and Thread. Beautiful. This, and I have a needle in here too, so forgive me. How many minutes are we in? Forgot to bring my glasses. So I've gone all the way around with the border. Now on this one, because there's so many border flowers, I did not do the green stems and all of that on the border. Instead, I just did the bones of the border to make sure it matched. And this one matched, so that's good. My Janet Barr Slater, that one matched. But look at the beauty. Hold on. I gotta move my coffee, so I might as well take a drink, right? So look at the beauty of that border, those flowers. Is that not gorgeous? It's so pretty. Forgive my thread up here. So this one and it's not huge, it's kind of long and skinny, if you can see the bottom. But I'm anxious to get back to this one because this is really fun. And once I get these, oh, sorry, thank you. Oh, more than one. Okay, let's just get them all. Thank you, Billy, sincerely, dear. Okay. Thank you, dear. Who knows where you got all those? Oh, on my table. Anyway, it's so pretty. So pretty. So that is Elizabeth Hunt, 1845 by With Thy Needle and Thread. And I am using, what am I using on this one? 40 Count Sheep Straw by R&R. I don't know if that's the called for. Hold on. Yes, it is the called for. Because I still have remnants of thinking I have to use the called for, so that's what I do. Okay, so, and that wasn't the only stitching. I stitched on 3 of my whips. So let me show you a few things that I worked on. This one is Louisa Coulimore. I have not touched this in a long time. This is also by Hands Across the Sea. I love it. This is a Bristol Orphanage sampler, and if you're not familiar with the Bristol Orphanage samplers, you need to read up on it. It's a really wonderful story of a man that took in orphans and did it completely on donations and taught these girls how to be, maybe a few boys, but taught them how to, you know, do a lot of different things so that they could end up growing into adults who could be self-sufficient or have a career. So anyway, this is Louisa Coulimore. There's lots of Bristol Orphanage samplers. Many of them are red, but not all of them. So this is where I am on this. Now I had the first line of the alphabet finished, and I put in the second line, and I started on a letter down here on the 3rd line. Not a whole lot. And this I'm doing on 40 count hog bristle by Fox and Rabbit. So that is a fun one. And I like I said, I had not touched it in a long time. So I need to get back to that. You know, I have a lot of things that I need to get back to, but you know, it's all about stitching and it's all about fun. So why are we worried? Right? Right. 2 more whips that I worked on, and then I'm going to take a break. And when I come back, I'm going to do Haul and Blackbird Finished but Not Framed. So remind me. The next thing I worked on, and I worked quite a bit on this one. This is Elizabeth Cheatham. I definitely will get back to this in September. I want to finish this by the end of the year, which is kind of optimistic, but I just love this. And I've shared before that this model was stitched by the gal that works, Pam Klipsick, that works at Country Sampler. Elizabeth Cheatham, and this is by the Scarlet Letter. Not to be confused with the Scarlet House. This is the Scarlet Letter. She has been doing reproduction samplers for eons. I can remember back way before internet and all of that, she used to send out catalogs, and then she'd send out supplements to the catalog, and I would just peruse through them at the time thinking, oh, these are so above my pay grade. I will never be able to stitch something like this, but now I'm doing it. So now I don't do the really complicated ones that have a lot of embroidery because I'm a little intimidated by that, but there's lots of them you can do that are just cross stitches. So, and Elizabeth Cheatham is basically cross stitch. There is some satin stitch that I'll do, but I'll do that at the end. So basically I worked on that middle band with the trees. So I did the basket on this side as well as the tree, and then I did the basket above the middle tree, filled in those leaf things on the tree, or outlined, and then there's fill in. Then there's 2 animals that go between the 2 trees. I'll need to work on that. But I'm really anxious to get down to this kind of Bargello looking band that is, it's all cross stitches. Let me see if I can see a picture of that. See, it's all cross stitches, but it's gorgeous. So that will be really fun. Again, Elizabeth Cheatham by the Scarlet Letter. Once I get the tree section done, I think I'll almost be halfway, maybe a little more than halfway. But I still have all the red berries or strawberries to go all the way around. I have some of them done on the sides, but not the bottom or the other sides. So that's a whip that I worked on. And that one I'm also using the Aversois Soie d'Alger, which is my silk of choice. That and NPI. I love NPI and I love this. And one of the main reasons I like them is because they're not variegated. For some, unless it's, there are some samplers that I'm fine using variegated, but a lot of the more reproduction ones, I really, oh, the wind's kicking up. See, I'm videoing in the middle of a hurricane. Actually, we're just getting a few outer bands because I think most of it's gonna go north. A little diversion weather talk there. Anyway, I like the sheen. I like the thickness of the Soie d'Alger because I feel like it gives really good coverage. And the last whip, I pulled this one out last night, and I really want to finish this by the end of the year, and I have a lot left to do. And that's my Jane Atkinson, also by the Scarlet Letter. This one and Anne Grimshaw. I didn't bring Anne Grimshaw out, but I also would like to finish that. So this is 3 samplers: Elizabeth Cheatham, Jane Atkinson, and Anne Grimshaw. They're all Elizabeths, Annes, Marys, oh, Annes, those common English names. Anyway, I worked a little on this. This is so beautiful, so beautiful. And again, I'm using the Soie d'Alger on that. Aversois Soie d'Alger. Now, Aversois makes multiple different types of flosses and silks. Soie d'Alger is the one in the skeins. 103 is the one that's on the spools. And then there's other thicknesses and weights that Soie Surfine, Gobelin, there's a variety of them. I've used Soie Surfine, it's a very thin one. Like it's good for over 1 on high counts. I've never used the Gobelin, I don't think. Anyway, so Jane Atkinson, I picked it up and I'm working on those side borders to go all the way down. So what I worked on last night, and a little bit yesterday, I got all of this finished. Not the flower, but just this. So then I'm ready. There's 2 more little flowers. Let me see if I can point. 2 more little flowers here and here. And then I'm ready to start these bottom flowers. Once I have all of the border flowers done, then I'll be ready to start on the middle tree and the over one. So there you go. So that's a lot, but that's what I've been stitching, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But it's not necessarily mentally sound, but all of these I hope in my lifetime to finish. So, and I might start more. In fact, I think I will start some more. I mean, Katie from So Tattered said, let's just start all the things. I was like, well, why not? What's the difference between whether it's kitted or whether it has some stitches in it? Seriously. It's going to be in your stash, in a project bag, waiting. Both are waiting. Whether they're kitted, they're waiting, or whether they're started, they're waiting. Hopefully patiently. That's my theory. So a couple things I wanted to mention before I take a short break to reheat my coffee is what I've been watching on FlossTube. I like to watch FlossTube. That and British TV are my go-tos. I don't like to watch the news. I do watch it sometimes, but I don't like to watch. So in my craziness and lack of tech skills, I discovered something that I probably should have discovered a long time ago. So if I go to YouTube and I press this little bell, the little bell will show you people that are in my subscriptions that I possibly have, not possibly, but that I have asked for notifications. So it says, okay, we have a new one by this gal, or we have a new one by them, or whatever. So it tells me. Well, I did not realize up here, there's a little button you can push that says mentions. So when I see that someone has mentioned me in their floss tube and I'm not familiar with them, that's a great tool to use. I know I should have known this from the get-go, but I didn't. I remember one time I asked my son, I said, so how do you figure out all this stuff on like the tech stuff? He goes, oh, I just push buttons and see what happens. Now that was years ago when stuff was fairly new, but why not just push the button, see what happens? So in my mentions, I'm going to tell you a few people that I then went and watched. I watched I Am a Stitch Nerd, all lowercase, one word. I Am a Stitch Nerd. I think her name is Laurel. Great videos. I think she's done, I don't know how many, maybe under 15, I think. And then the Red Cross Stitcher, I went and watched her. I went and watched, let's see. What's this one? The Floss Boss and Cousins. I love them. And somebody, oh, the Monogamous Stitcher. I think no, the Recovering Monogamous is Karen. I've watched her a lot. There was somebody else. If I think about it, I'll tell you after the break. But all of those are very good videos to go watch. If you're, I don't always have recommended turned on. So the reason, because my grandson looks at baseball on my iPad. So if I have recommended on, I get all these the top 10 times an umpire threw a batter out of the game. I get all these. The best catch in outfield. I get all these recommended that are that, and I don't want that. So anyway, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you a few things that I bought. Delightful deliveries as Running with Scissors, Stitching with Jane and Julie. I love them. They're fabulous. I can get really interested in someone stitching, even if they don't stitch what I stitch, because I think there's such a wide variety of personalities and experiences and even abilities. If somebody stitches on Ada, I don't care. If somebody stitches smalls all the time, I don't care. If somebody stitches Mirabilias, which, I don't stitch, but I think it's enjoyable to watch somebody show really what they're proud of. I mean, when you really think about it, they're sharing things that they've done and that they're wanting to share with the community. So I encourage everybody, not everybody may be to your taste or your liking, but at least watch one to see if you might connect with them. So anyway, I'm going to do a quick pause and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to show you a few things that I got in the mail that I ordered. The first two are not new publications, but sometimes in market comes out, or things come out in market. Oh, shoot. Oh, well. Dropped all the DMC out of there. When things come out at market or periodically during the year, you can't buy everything. And so some things I think, well, I'll get that, in a few months, and then sometimes you forget. So these are two Teresa Kogut pieces that I almost bought them at the retreat last year, and I thought, oh, I'll wait. I'll wait, because I was trying to watch my pennies, and not that hers aren't worth everything as much as everybody else's. I don't mean that. But they're a little more pricey because they're books or booklets. So the first one is Remember Me, and someone in my stitch group did this, and it's so fabulous. And whenever you see something stitched, it's just so much different. That's why it's so important for local stores to have models. And I know it's not easy, but it does sell the charts when you have a model, because the picture just doesn't do it justice. So anyway, this is Remember Me by Teresa Kogut. And there's other things, I think. Well, maybe this one is just that. This one is just that. So anyway, it's just this one pattern. And the next one that I got was Let Love Rain. I've seen a couple people that have finished this. Another gal in our stitching group is working on it. It's so fabulous. Let Love Rain. It's a big sampler. And this booklet actually has other pieces in it as well. Let me see if I can show you a big picture of it. I'm sure you're familiar with this. This is not new. Well, phooey. Here it is. It's just fabulous. Just absolutely fabulous. And it's all DMC, so some of them are on the floor now, but I do have all the DMC, so I'd like to at least get this one started. Maybe some of my new starts in the next few weeks. Let Love Rain, and it says it's a small collection and big love. So there's other things in here besides just that one chart. Let Love Rain, Teresa Kogut. So I got that. And then I got this kit, which was really not totally kitted. It was just the chart and the linen. This is Elizabeth Lincoln, 1815. And this is a lot of people are doing a stitch along. This is from the Northumberland Sampler House. And you can actually get this as a PDF. I prefer paper charts because first of all, I don't have a printer that really does a good copy for charts. So then if I get a PDF, then I have to go somewhere and have it printed, and I don't stitch from my tablet. I don't stitch from a device. So I like a paper, so I went ahead and got the paper copy, but you can get a PDF on this one. I think on Etsy it's North Sampler House, but the name is really Northumberland Sampler House. And the name of this one is Elizabeth Lincoln, 1815. And with it, I got the linen, which is 40 count biscuit that she dyes. So this is all DMC as well, so I just need to collect all the DMCs for that. And then I got two. I didn't get all of them. A lot of people like the new Brenda Gervais. I pre-ordered this one. This is When Witches Go Riding. This is new. I did not get the bird one yet. I'm debating on that one. It's beautiful. But like I said, sometimes you don't get all of them at the same time. And then this is When Pumpkins Glow. Love that. And this one, I have the floss for it. And this is on Ligonier Latte. And I actually have a piece of Ligonier Latte that I have set aside for something else, but at least it allowed me to see the color. So then I'm using, what am I using? Somewhere in one of these bags I have the linen. So I'll let you know once I start that. Okay, so my Finish Not Frame Blackbird, I have most of my Blackbird, either the smalls are actually made into smalls. I mean, they're fully finished. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Or they've already been framed. I think I have 20, 16, between 16 and 20 framed Blackbird pieces in my sewing room. It's hard to get a good perspective picture because it's not a very deep room. So in order to get back far enough, you'd have to cut a hole in the wall to get a good picture. But I'll try to have my husband insert a picture of my Blackbird framed pieces. A lot of them are loose feathers, but not all of them. I'm actually one of those fortunate people that started the Loose Feathers Club from Blackbird. I started collecting it from number 1. So I have all of the Blackbird. A few I've loaned out and then I've had to ask for them back because it's like, no offense, but I have to keep my collection complete. So anyway, now it's raining and the wind's blowing. We've had worse rain. But anyway, oh, the mailman's coming. So they're still delivering mail today. So the first, do you get a sense that I kind of have stream of consciousness? This is why my husband sometimes is like, what are you talking about? You were just talking about this, and then all of a sudden you're into the mailman? It's like, you switch gears way too fast. I know. So the first one is Merrily, Merrily We Welcome Spring. This came out a few years ago. Needs to be framed. Yes, it's gorgeous. And someone asked, what do I do with all of these? I have 4 project rolls, and I roll all these up, and they're in a cabinet. So they're protected from earth, wind, and fire. Merrily, merrily, we welcome spring. And I'm sure I used all of the called for because just that's what I do. I can't remember the name of this one. It says Peace on Earth, and I think it's in the Home for the Holidays book, I think. I did this in 2019, so I just don't remember. Some of these I don't remember the name. Oh, here's another delightful delivery. Katie So Tattered started this, and I was like, oh, I don't have that. This one is called Jack-o'-lantern Sewing Pocket. See, stream of consciousness, told you. So I do have the Havana, and I'm going to stitch that one. So that's going to be a fall start soon. This one is The Winter is Past. This one was done on Oaken. Love the blue colors. I also want to start that whole series of the birds. I have that set out. That might be a new start soon too. I mean, why not, you know? This one is Oh Joyous Day. Finish Not Framed. And so many people have encouraged me to, you know, order a frame, which actually my husband could make, and then just start trying to lace them and see how you do. And I think that's a good plan. This is All Joys for Thine. I love this one too. Blackbird's been using a lot of Picture This Plus linen, which I think it's really nice for their kind of modeled, I call it vintage pretty. So that's All Joys for Thine. And the last one, second to the last. This is Come Into My Garden. This one I think it's either on Velt or Legacy. Come into my garden. Love the border on this one. It's gorgeous. Come into my garden. Oh, and I put my mom's name, Georgia Sailing Thompson. The last one I want to show you. Whew, it does get humid when there's a hurricane. Whew. This is a Christmas one, and I actually can't remember the name of this one. This one I did a long time ago. 1866, that was a while ago. This one I put my mom's it says Merry Christmas, and then it says Laura Fields, and I'm thinking Laura Fields is my mother's father's mother, so it would be my mom's grandmother, Laura Fields, which was Laura's maiden name. The last one, I've been shamed by this for a long time. My friend Susan Aki, Yard Girl, she did this one quite a while ago. I think we were still working together at the quilt store, and that closed in 2010. So anyway, she said, whatever you do, don't leave the over one till the end. Whatever you do, don't leave the over one till the end. So of course, what have I done? You guessed it. I've left the over one till the end. It's finished except for the personalization over one, and that is Anniversaries of the Heart. So yes, I have determined who's going to go in each space. Need to take this out periodically and refold it. On the very, it's like you just don't. But I have it figured out now, at least who's gonna go where. And in this space, I'm going to put a verse, a scripture. I'm thinking about in my father's house are many mansions, because I think that would be good with all these houses. I did put my husband's initials in one of them. Technically, it's supposed to be like January, February, and then you have an extra space, March, April. And this is probably done on 30 or 32 count, which is another reason it's so big. But I have no excuse. I have all the charts, and I have the Post-it note of who goes where. And I just need to do it. I need to have a couple over one Saturdays. Maybe that would be a good idea. Where I just did over one. It's sort of like just bite the bullet and do it, Carol. This was one of the first project bags I ever got. I got it from Dying to Stitch, I remember. It was an older line of Blackbird fabric. So that is all I have for you today. Oh, he sent me, these are like 5s. I really can't see on those. Okay, so just under an hour, I think, or over an hour. I just want to extend my well wishes to anybody that's been affected by the hurricane. I certainly didn't mean to make light of it. It just seems so many times in Jacksonville it sort of bypasses us, and we get prepared, but the frightening thing is sometimes you get too complacent because you're like, oh, never ends up coming toward us. And even if it's coming from the Atlantic, many times it'll hit the warm waters of Jacksonville and go north. But there are people that are affected, and my heart goes out to you, because in this heat and then the rain and the humidity and lack of power and all of that is just going to be miserable. So one of my daughter's friends, my daughter's friend's husband is on a storm team. So whenever storms hit, he hits the road. So I'm sure and part of that storm team is to restore power. So I'm sure he's headed there and very busy. But anyway, hope you all are doing well in whatever area you live in. And I hope you participate in whatever stitch along you're involved in, whether it's Sampler September or any of the wonderful stitch alongs. I know Pam from Just Keep Stitching is doing the Courage piece for her for her cancer survival, and survival is the word I'm looking for. I just couldn't do that. Many of you know my daughter is still in the 5-year since period of, she was diagnosed in 2019 with colon cancer and had part of her colon removed. So she's still in the, within 5 years before they, say you're cured, so to speak. But anyway, it's a little bit too fresh. So, but I think it's kudos to all of you who are stitching those, and I think that's really cool. So anyway, I will be back in a couple weeks, and I hope you all are doing well. Love ya. Bye.